Because of everything that I have going on with my body and my mind, something that is very important in my life is to really cater my life around my body's needs at particular times, and winter is a particularly difficult time of my life. It's just, I don't have a lot of energy, we don't have a lot of sun, there's not a garden that I can go out to for my mental health. In a lot of ways, I have to put a lot more effort into staying in a good mood. And one of the things that I've really been trying to think about more is I I love making long videos, but long videos take so long to edit, and I don't think people realize how long they take to edit, because if I make an hour-long video, the time that it takes me to film it is probably, like, with setting up and breaking down and going through everything and all that, is probably 3 or 4 hours. Then I have to take that resulting, like, 2 hours of footage and watch it over and over and over again as I edit it down into the best version of itself that it can be. And whilst that is something that I am willing to do for the right topics, and that's something that I love doing when I'm feeling well, in winter, I just kind of have to be more cognizant of my limitations, and I'm also trying to think about filming in a completely different way. I'm trying to stop thinking about this because it's what I want it to be, right? And, like, I know that the norm on YouTube is for things to be heavily edited, heavily produced. Everybody has short attention spans nowadays, but I know that the people that really vibe with my content also vibe with, like, just being here for, like, a companionable kind of situation, but also a lot of times they do crafts and things like that while they're listening to my videos or watching my videos or what have you. So I'm really trying to see my videos more as a monologue. I'm trying to put more of myself into them. I'm trying to move around more. I'm experimenting with lighting and camera and not being necessarily stuck in one space, because as somebody with ADHD, my brain works best when I have space to move around. It's harder to set that up in a way that, like, works, and I hope that I'm getting towards that. But I want to make more videos throughout this next couple of weeks into next year, and I want to take what I'm learning from these videos into how I produce videos next year. So next year, there are a lot of things that I already know that I want to focus on. There are so many songs that I want to discuss, of Taylor's especially, but also I don't want to feel like I can only talk about Taylor. I really want to try and keep it a 50-50 balance, because obviously, like, interest in Taylor, like, ebbs and flows and wanes and things like that, and I don't want to be in a predicament where, like, when people aren't caring about Taylor, that I feel like I have to make that kind of content or nobody else. And, like, there's just so many things that are happening in cinema and in music and in, like, just the world around us that are relating to us and relate to the way we consume media. And everything about what I'm trying to do is trying to use the media that captures people's attention, things like gossip, things like drama, and funnel that into interest for looking at things in a deeper way. Funnel that interest into looking at Hollywood and show business and the music industry in a totally different way. And I'm really hoping that in being able to make more videos a week and maybe concentrating on making them shorter, so I'm not spending like 9, 10, 12, 15 hours editing every video, like, my body cannot do that in winter. So if you love my long videos, support the short videos that are about the content that you like, ask questions in the comments, share them with people that you think might like them, because that will tell me that those topics are things that are worth putting that. And I think that's the problem. I put 15, 20 hours into a video because it's something that I want to talk about, and not always something that people are interested in. And always, it's kind of difficult to know, especially on YouTube, where the people that are coming to my channel are coming from, right? Because I think a lot of people are just like regular Swifties who have no understanding of this deeper concept that Taylor is performing performance art. I know that there's a ton of people who are interested in the deeper aspect of things, but I think I have to be more discerning in what topics I devote that many hours of my time to. So I'm going to try to be doing more videos a week on a greater percentage of subjects. I'm going to try and just focus in on small little aspects, maybe try and funnel things into series. I'm gonna try and do some videos about songs that are, like, not as every time I do a video on one of Taylor's songs, I feel like I have to say everything that I've ever thought about the song or everything that I currently think about the song. And so many songs are relevant from so many different layers. And I think I just have to be like, okay, this is just this layer. I mean, because New Romantics, I thought was going to be a really short video, and it ended up being a really long video that involved a lot of research. And I don't always want to be the person that does all of the research and presents everything to people. So much of what has made this so fun for so many of us is getting into Taylor's work and looking at it at a different level and seeing things a different way, and then going back and doing research on our own and finding new things, using our own little areas of expertise. I very frequently say that Gaylor is the world's biggest group project because there are so many different things, and Taylor was talking about it in the New Heights podcast, the New Heist podcast, where she is talking about all of these different ways, all of these things, about how she tried to integrate all of these different things into the Eras tour because she wanted people to go away with like kind of an information overload, like you're scrolling a timeline. She was doing a particular performance with that, and she's being so interesting in how she's handling every different aspect of this performance. And I think it's very difficult for even a small group of people to fully grasp everything that's going on, because obviously Taylor is pulling on other people. There's a lot of other artists that are all working in the same subjects, making songs about the same thing, talking about so many things in very similar ways, and getting their audiences to be more aware of so much under the surface. So many artists have little tidbits in their art nowadays that they're queer. So many more artists are coming out. So many more artists are doing a number of different things to reveal the fact that there's a persona that is being sold for them, but they're not necessarily that same person underneath. We're starting to talk about these things, especially with people like Ariana Grande, in the way that she has like just changed with every different like era of her life. And is that her changing, or is that her like the character that she is portraying to the world? Because very often people expect what they expect out of people. Ariana has had so many like small scandals or weird scandals, and like things like how she used to have people carry her around because her tiny toes were too precious to touch the surface of the earth. Like those kind of things are to sell this image of a diva, because she has wanted to be a diva so that she could have this role that is viewed as a diva role, because she has been interested in Glinda and portraying her for such a huge portion of her life, and has devoted a lot of like, and obviously at other points in her life she has devoted her image to other sorts of things, selling different sorts of images. Taylor Swift does this too. She lives through the image of the music that she is trying to sell. When she is trying to sell pop music, she portrays this image of her being this in a relationship with men and loving being with men. And earlier in her life, it was that she was kind of flighty and she went from one relationship to another. And that was what she used to sell pop. And then when she was trying to be taken seriously more in an indie pop, she was dating men that were more reflective. She was dressing in a more academia style. Like every aspect of the public personas of these people is put on to sell a particular image. And that comes back to what I was saying about this being the world's biggest group project, about how so many of us come together to see what so many different pop artists are doing with their personas, with the art that they are creating, through their interviews, through their lyrics. There are so many ways that so many of these artists are commenting on and discussing the industry as a whole, but also the roles that women often play within it, whether it be Taylor Swift being a boyfriend girl right now, or whether it be Ariana Grande being a homewrecker, because again, this feeds into that kind of diva personality that she's trying to cultivate for her image. It's so much more than just Gaylor or performance artler. It's so many of these artists coming together and doing just truly interesting things with the media that they're creating that I think is very worth discussing right now. Because when we look at artists like Shakespeare, we look not only at the art that they create, we also look at the reaction that it provoked from people of the time. Preserving the kind of critique, the critical response, the fans' response, preserving that in whatever we can preserve it in is part of preserving the future understanding of that art. I say very frequently that Taylor Swift is going to be seen as a Shakespeare of our generation, and people laugh about that because I think they have this impression that Shakespeare is very highbrow. No, Shakespeare is very of the people. Shakespeare was very pop. Shakespeare and Taylor have so much more in common, especially with the life of a showgirl, with being willing to use colloquial language, with being willing to use things that are considered more lowbrow to appeal to a greater portion of like the more general artists. Like it really seemed like for a while Taylor wanted to prove herself to so many people, and that's why she went the kind of folklore Evermore TTPD. And it was as soon as she sort of proved that she turned around and then completely inverted how she approached music and went back to how she did it before her reputation was shattered and she was put in this position where she felt like she had so much to prove. And now she has really been able to root out the fans that are only interested in her for the thing that they specifically got in that like folklore Evermore TTPD. Because when you do actually give the life of a showgirl a chance, there's a lot of different layers of meaning. There is a lot of different complexity hidden behind simpleness, and that's another reason why I want to do shorter videos, is because there are so many little angles of the life of a showgirl that I want to show people, because I think there is so much more interesting stuff going on there than people realize, and I love it and I adore it. But when I get too invested in things like that, when I get too invested in details and I make like hour-long videos, I sometimes commit way too much of my time to videos that people are not going to watch or care about, and I need to be more cautious of that. Um, so yeah, I think this is kind of the style of a lot of the stuff that you should come to expect from me from the next couple of months. I'm not saying that I'm not going to have longer stuff coming. I'm just probably going to get it to be like maybe one or two longer videos a month, and then the rest of things trying to keep in a like 20 to 25-minute range. I would love to be able to put out 3 or more videos a week, because that would make the algorithm support me and boost me in a way that I actually kind of need it to happen so I can develop as a creator myself. This is my job. I need to start thinking of it as such, and I need to start being like, okay, I know that this is what I want to make a video about, but I need to make sure other people are actually willing to watch a video on this too.